All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another episode of The Mix Behind the Mic at Studio 33. Today's guest, Alexandr Kislitsyn, reigning all the way from Siberia, Russia. Been in the business 10 years, been in music for 30 years. He's our first musician and a world class elite violinist. Alexandr, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for this amazing introduction. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
What a pleasure to be here with you today.
super excited to have you on. We keep talking about live music and fusion at weddings, and it's growing and growing. And I'm going to start getting some more guys on to
I
talk
look
about it.
forward. Yeah.
So we're all about it. Uh, Take us from the start. I mean, 5, 6 years old. You picked it up, and you've been doing it ever since. And how do we get here today? Give us a little bit about
Yeah. So,
background.
sure. So both of my parents, they're professional musicians.
Okay.
Both of them classically trained, and as well as my sister, who is 5 years older.
Okay.
She's a professional pianist. So I grew up surrounded by music, and when I was, I think, 2, 3, I started, picking up different things, knocking on things, pretending
Sure.
those are drums,
Sure.
as it usually happens. And because my mom, she's a professional violinist, so she started teaching me, as well as I had a teacher at the music school. So I started at a very early age of 5, learning how to play instrument professionally since the very, very beginning.
What you mentioned mom does violin. What's dad do?
Yeah. So my dad, he plays bayan. It's a type of accordion, but
Okay.
with buttons on the right side of the instrument.
Okay.
And he also conducts. So he been doing that for a very, very long time as well.
So your entire family's music
Yeah.
you grew up with your whole life.
Yeah.
Uh so you grew up with it in Russia. You've been here how long? Ballpark? You said 10 plus years?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah, 12
And
years.
by the time you come here, you're completely like all in. Was it something that you knew from a young age that it was always going to be like a career base? Is it something that you learn later in life? And just kind of give us a little insight.
Sure. It's both at the same time because I was brought into music, and my mom was practicing with me basically until I turned 15. I didn't really love the music passionately in the way that I would want to practice that for like many, many years, understanding, how difficult it is. Um, I had passion for playing sports. I really wanted to do hockey, ice hockey professionally,
Okay.
which is huge in the area where I grew up in. But also at the same time, around third grade, I realized that music will be something I will be doing for life. And around that time, I also started dedicating more time to playing instrument, practicing it, and it was also around the same time that I started competing seriously in regional and national competitions and winning prizes sometimes as well. So that was the time when I realized that, I think I'll be doing that for living.
That's awesome. Uh, did your whole family, I'm assuming, come over together? As far as like, what brought you guys over to the States?
Sure. So my sister and I, when both of us studied in the same conservatory
Okay.
in Siberia, and just because we got to the point where we were doing most we could do there. And one of the days, my sister met one of her friends who, at that time, been studying at Temple, and her friend said, "Hey, if you like, I can show your recordings and your videos to teachers there and see where it will take you." So me and my sister, we prepared tapes, sent all that, and she heard a little bit earlier from a teacher, and she went around 2012. She moved to United States. She started her second master's at Westchester University,
Wow. Okay.
and I came in 2013. And so my path was pretty interesting because I had conversation with a teacher at that time, and his name is Edward Schmieder. He's incredible violin teacher. He raised many generations of wonderful musicians. So he gave me a call once, and I actually remember that moment precisely. So I was on the train at night going back to Novosibirsk, which is another city from a city where I played 4 seasons with the orchestra, which was also pretty big for me at that time. And I get this call. I'm like, well, what's this number? So, and he's like, hey, I watched your tape. Would you like to come to Austria, Salzburg, and have master class with me? So I'll meet you, and you'll take a couple of lessons and see how it goes. So I was like, yeah, of course. So in August, I went to Austria, had classes with him. And in September, I already get acceptance letter, I think, from Temple University that, they invited me to come study. Later, I got my master's there and ended up graduating with doctorate just this year.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome. And you've been here, you said like 12 years now. So
Yeah.
it flies. So how do we get from the, I don't want to be rude and use the appropriate term, like, is it like the orchestra side, if that's the word I'm using, to how did that take you into where we are today, into the wedding business?
I always had an interest in bridging into other styles. So, for example, when I was around like 14, 15, I played in like rock band, exploring how to play electric guitar, and then I played drums in jazz rock band. And I also did some crossovers with different genres, playing electric violin when I was living in Siberia. And
Okay.
when I moved here, of course, I was focused more on, well, first learning language and playing instrument, like learning how to.
Let me pause. You
Yeah.
came here not speak English?
Yeah, I had
Oh, okay.
very
That's
little.
huge.
Yeah,
Okay. That's a huge part of it. So, God, I just wanted to
yeah,
throw
yeah,
that in
of
there. Go ahead.
course, yeah. Yeah, and so pretty much later, I just because of the curiosity, started, looking more into what else I can do, and that's how the electric violin came about. So I played that, and I was like, well, this is very interesting. I can do so many things with the sound, as well as playing for different types of events, and collaborating with different people.
Yeah.
For a while, I played in like Gothic band, played electric violin there as well, writing music with them. Was a lot of fun, and then started producing, and then started playing more with DJs, which is again super fun.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like, so I'm, off script for a sec, but I feel like it's got to be a completely different world of playing alongside a DJ as opposed to playing with other live musicians. Or,
It is.
yeah, so I'm like, it has to be a completely different thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Just like last Sunday, did a wedding, and because so I'll cut just
No, you're cool, going.
very very short story. So I started bringing djembe to the gigs as well,
Okay,
just because I can play it and people love it.
sure.
So one of the guys from the crowd, he was like, "Oh, I play percussion. Can I play it?" I'm like, "Sure." And he was asking me, "How do you guys have like a set list? How do you follow?" I'm like, "We just do whatever the DJ does."
Right. You just, yeah,
This is
just go with their
it.
flow,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I have pretty good pitch, so uh, uh, when I was studying in school, I was able to write down the notes after, like, the first time the teacher would play something, especially if it's just like one voice. So, and this is very helpful playing because, so when I work, I wear my in-ear monitors all the time, and even if I don't know a song, I can figure out the key like very, very quickly, and play melodies or like improvise on top of it.
So I already like you saying this, and I want you to kind of keep talking more
Sure.
about that, because I find one of the most frequently asked questions whenever I'm talking about sax or violin is always, they're like, "Well, what is their song list?" And I go, "Their song list is whatever the DJ is
Yes.
playing." So I'm like, they don't, and I don't. To be honest, I don't know how to explain it too much. I just go, it's not about the songs, it's about the keys, or it's about, the
Yeah.
beats, to just simply they're playing along with that, not necessarily this song. And, I love when someone will compare, a Motown song to like a hip hop song, and like people's heads explode that,
Mm-hmm.
you could do both,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you played everything from massive concert halls to intimate settings. Do you have a preference? And I understand they can all have their own benefits, but like, what do you prefer, and what's your like preference gig, I guess?
I don't really have a preference gig per se, but I would explain it that way. So, playing instrument or like playing music in any environment for me is a very happy event, and I enjoy it a lot. So it doesn't really matter where I play or for who I play, even if it's just two people or it's a full stadium of people. Um, I do it mostly for myself because I love it, and I think by doing that, people can see me enjoying it. They can also enjoy it even more. So for me, there is like not much difference between playing like intimate events. They all have their own, uh,
It
like that.
makes total sense, and I'm not a musician myself. Honestly, it's probably one of my biggest regrets in life, and I know I still have time and I could start tomorrow, but I always said it's like mind blowing that I never learned to play an instrument. But I'm trying to understand into the fact of if someone comes to see you and you're performing with a bunch of musicians in a, like I said, orchestra set kind of thing, they're paying to come see that, and that's enjoyable for them. So it's enjoyable for you, and you're passionate about it. And in the same flip of hypothetically a wedding, people are going to dance, to have a vibe, to, and you have that same, high, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
of playing. So I guess it makes sense. It's just completely different feelings, vibes, energy, and just completely different aspects of it.
Yeah. Those are still like if it's a wedding, it's still the same people who could be in any concert hall or at any venue pretty much.
Right.
That's how I look at it at that. And for me, the amount of preparation and how I treat the event, so like it doesn't matter if I play a wedding or if I play in a concert hall, so it would be like pretty much the same for me.
So I'm curious. So you said you've done drums, you've played guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious how you answer this. And I really hope this goes live and we don't cut this because
Yeah.
I don't want this to come off the wrong way. Me growing up,
Mm-hmm.
I looked at that rock star, if you will, was the
Yeah.
guy playing the guitar, if you will.
Yeah.
It was the singer in the band. And respectfully, I don't think, at least for me, I don't think I was ever, but I think it's a different world today. Growing up, violin, sax, we'll just use them two, was never something where I was like, whoa, that guy's, and again, I don't mean that to be, but today, I think it's a different world. And I don't
Yeah.
know if it's just because of the weddings, but now, let's put it this way. Here's the best way I could put it. 20 years ago, I don't think a sax or violinist ever had the rock star label put to them. But today you can have that. And I think,
Yeah.
does that make sense? Does
Yeah,
that come off wrong?
completely.
I
No,
don't
it
want it to.
didn't at all, and you are completely right. That's true. It's just the way it is, and if you would say like the way it is marketed to
Well,
people,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like,
uh,
I feel like when, like, I just think it's a different, I have a 6-year-old son.
mm-hmm.
Again, I literally, this is the year where I'm just like, all right, we're going to pick something. I'm just going to make him commit to trying to get into something. But what I don't know, and I always wanted to be a dad. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
always wanted a son. I have a son. And in my head growing up, I'm always like, I'm going to make him learn to play the guitar or something because that's what I did, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And 20 years ago, I never, in so many ways, would have thought that sax or violin would be two things that would be on my list of things I would want him to try.
Yeah,
And now I'm so around them that they get me excited and I have the energy that I'm like, maybe sax or violin, something I'm going to have him pick up
yeah,
and try. So it's just, I think my mentality and respect of the instruments have just changed over the years. Or,
mm-hmm.
like you say, how it's portrayed, how it's marketed today, it's just different than it was, at least when I felt like I was growing up.
Yeah. Also, artists like Lindsay Sterling, so she has a huge following, and I think David Garrett, he is classically trained violinist who has incredible career uh, playing classical music at the highest level, but he's also a rock star. So he does covers with orchestras in Europe. He's huge, sells out like concert halls and stadiums even.
Right.
So definitely. Also, I remember like when I was growing up, when I was a kid, Vanessa May. I'm not sure if she's around. Um, so definitely those people who branched out into that type of music, bringing people closer to instrumental music. They definitely had a huge impact on what we have right now. So another example of the same is Bridgerton, right? So every bride wants a string quartet for their wedding
Sure.
because of that, which is wonderful. And I also do play candlelight concerts in Philadelphia and cities around, which again were affected so much by, I would say, that show, because the desire of people to hear live string quartet in a setting where we would play covers of popular songs is huge. And we have consistent concerts, been having them since 2021, maybe a little bit even earlier, I think 2020. But yeah, I think it's just part of it that the like people who you know explore other avenues and go in a different genres and um, introduce people to that type of music in a little bit different way.
So I definitely agree with everything you just said about the Bridgerton. It's something that comes up then often. More times than not, we'll have a DJ do the ceremony. I do mention we offer live
Hmm.
music, but if I mention that we're doing the DJ, I mention Vitamin String Quartet, and
Yeah.
somehow most of them will say something like Bridgerton. So yes, I'm curious though. Again, we'll be in the same boat of we get paid to party with people on their wedding days, and it's an awesome job, and I love mine as well. But I'm curious to your answer to this. I feel like if you have two weddings this weekend and Friday you're just doing an intimate ceremony and Saturday you're only doing the DJ fusion with the violin, is it like a no-brainer that you're just Wednesday you're like definitely looking more forward to Saturday? Granted, Friday's going to be quicker, it might only be the hour ceremony, but like do you not is it like do you get more hyped up to do the fusions versus
I
only the
love doing
ceremony?
fusions.
Yeah, I feel like it's vibes and energy. So it's like
Yeah,
how do you not like and again,
exactly.
not to take anything away from the intimate ceremonies that
It's
you
just
do.
different.
Right, it's exactly. That's fair. Would you break that down for me? Of all the weddings you do, let's just say last year, is 50% ceremony cocktail, 50% fusion, more or less? What's your like breakdown for weddings that you do?
Oh, probably I would say 65% fusion, because I think this past year I had the most
It's definitely growing. You
fusion.
need
Yes.
bigger. January 2026 or 25. I started offering it June or July of 2024, which means realistically it was for 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And like overnight, I just started booking them as soon as I did it for mainly sax and violin. And like I said, I would never say this. I hope she doesn't listen to this episode, but like for whatever reason, I've yet to book them together. And I just talked about you and having,
Yeah.
Raf come on in a couple weeks. And today's consult, she was like, I know you do the fusion. I'm so excited about the fusion. And I love when they just get the concept or already seen it. And she was like, I want them both. And I was like, yes, I want you to get them both too. Uh, and what I try to tell her is like, if you're getting a band for your wedding, in my opinion, and I don't know too much about that side of the wedding business, but I know that you're spending a minimum of $10,000 on a good band, if you will, for most weddings. And in that aspect, the mix of live music and the DJ, in my opinion, I'll be biased because I'm from the DJ world, I think is better than just a band,
It is.
but because of the variety that it allows, I think. And there's always, in my opinion, just more energy. And I don't know if I'm shocked that you just said that and you said it so quickly, but because you're like a musician at heart,
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were going to lean on the band side, but I just think, and this is why I love that you came on, just because I like preach how much I love the addition of live music. And, you know, we offer 18 services. I talk DJ, photo, video are the main three. Then I say we have 10 add ons. And I always say there's 3 add ons over everything else that I'm going to push you to get over, for example, a photo booth, and that should be at the
Mm-hmm.
bottom of the list. And I say uplights, cold sparks, and sax or violin every single time. And I think because it's just such a growing, trend in the past year and a half,
Yeah.
Everyone's familiar with it now. Everyone's starting to see it. And again, I hope more people see it just because they're
Yeah.
watching this
Yeah.
episode of the
Same.
podcast. But uh how I don't, I don't maybe we'll cut this and come back, but how did you get into doing your first wedding? And like what got you from bringing it to this side? And did you do one and you're like, oh yeah, we're in for this? Like, which I almost imagine might have happened.
I've done some of the weddings as well. Back in when I lived in Siberia, just playing, string quartet and doing different types of um, other groups.
But not with a DJ yet
Not with
until you
DJ.
came here, right?
Yes, I
Okay.
think the first DJ gig I've done, I think with I think it was either with one of the companies, either EB or Rhythmix, and um, definitely love working with Rhythmix and well, both of them great companies. Um, but yeah, I think like when we done couple with Jeff, it's just the energy and everything was like so much fun. Um,
So I always say that there's so many brides out there. There's no reason for competition, and if you're at the top, it's collaborating
yeah,
and not competition. Shout out to Jeff. Love Jeff.
yeah,
Ritmix is
same.
awesome guy. I also joke that people say we're each other's doppelgangers just because we're bald and we have beards. 2 times in the last 2 years, someone said, "Yo, I'm at a wedding. I'm here," and I go, "I'm on the couch with like my kid," and I'm like, "What do you mean you're here?" And they send me a picture, and it's like Jeff from 100 yards away. But so shout out to him for that.
Yeah.
But I just, like I said, when I talk to brides, the number one thing, all of our consults are FaceTimes. And I always say, if you take anything from this FaceTime, I want it to be vibes. And when we talk about adding, and let's also say this, I'm disappointed to say that me and you have not done a wedding yet together ourselves. And I'm super mad that we're not doing one next weekend because that would be so crazy.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that real quick. So I asked Alex to come on the pod, and I just so happened to mention to you that I'm doing a wedding in Mexico next week, and you're like, "No way, I'll be in Mexico next week." And we find out that you're going to be 8 minutes away from me, and I'm just like, "Oh my god, you need to come to this wedding, and like, let's make this happen." And it's so crazy, and I talk a lot about destination weddings, but I call the bride, and she's like, "This sounds like a vibe. Like, I'm interested," but she's like, it's a $1,500 charge for an outside vendor. Now, I know that because they're paying for me to stay there,
Yeah.
so like that's waived.
Mhm.
But I'm just like, it couldn't be more too good to be true that like she didn't have to pay for your airfare, or you're there and you can make some extra bucks at a wedding in another country
Yeah.
at a place that's
That was
8 minutes away,
perfect.
and like they're gonna tell her it's a $1,500 charge, not just for you to walk in the door, not obviously you making money yourself off of it. So I was just so disappointed, and it would have been so cool.
Yeah.
But it's just, I'm so, when you told me that, I was just like, this is so wild. I'm so mad it's not happening.
We'll get to hang out though for sure. But to go back to what you were talking earlier, the difference between the band and the DJ with the musicians. So I worked in the wedding band for like about 2 years, and I played with like the best bands in the city as well, and worked with many DJs. I think DJ fusion is the future, honestly. Well, it's based also on younger, couples getting married who are into EDM, tech house, like, and
Facts.
all of those genres.
Facts.
And I've never seen a band to bring the same energy of what we do when we play, because as my job, so if I would write down my job description, is animator with the violin, like entertainer with the violin. So my main job is to make sure that people are comfortable dancing. I move a lot myself, um, and of course, like playing, improvising. But when a bride books a DJ fusion, what they also get during their dinner, they get a set of live music, which also stands out. And DJ, like you guys playing. Well, first, it's like I consider it's an incredible art form, and I think like all of you are musicians, because what you do with mixing and how you mix it, and you probably saw, like, I don't know if you saw my reaction when I worked with Dave Gordon when he like done mix. I was like,
Yeah.
wow,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
because it's so impressive to me as professional musician when like you can just take two pieces of music, combine them in a very creative way right here on the spot and make something super super cool. um but again, like what we do is we don't just like improvise or like because it's not needed. Like we don't need to add too much. We need to add just the right amount, and we just need to be there to play it and to interact with people, to like literally bring the energy, as well as communicating and kind of like creating that vibe with you when you play, or like with any other DJ. And bands, they don't do it most of the time. Even the best bands, they will still be more formal in the way they perform for the weddings, and
Right.
it's just not that. And I think the main part of the wedding is to have a great party and to dance and like really have like this ecstatic moment when everyone is just having so much fun. Yeah, so I think definitely DJ fusion, and it's definitely the future, and sparklers and
So you said something that made me think of something, and then my ADHD lost it for a second, but I got it back. I started to say we're unfortunate that we haven't personally had a chance to work a wedding together. But what specifically sparked me to when we started following, when we connected, we originally connected with from Dave Gordon, shout out to DG. But I love the energy that you bring on the dance floor. And there's multiple, now that I'm in the business, I work with multiple sax and violin guys, and it's the ones that some hang with the DJ and play, and some are out on the dance floor with vibes, circles around them, and interacting. And that's always what I see from your videos. So
thank you.
that's definitely something that I think stands out and speaks volumes. And I guess you could do it in the band setting, but from what I picture, you don't see that as much if you're just band only. And again, maybe I could be wrong about that, but like I love the musicians getting out. Again, I can't wait to hopefully get you and Raph for that DJ or sax and violin together. But being on the dance floor with the crowd, I think is such a massive addition to the energy in the room. We always say that you want people to dance at your wedding, you, the couple, have to be out there.
Yeah.
When the bride and groom are out on the dance floor, more people are going to be out there on the dance floor. When the rock star that I now say you guys are out there on the dance floor, it's that much more likely that other guests are going to come out there and dance and vibe with you guys.
Yeah,
And I think it's just such a vibe anymore. All right. So obviously, when people have a budget, I like the people that don't have a budget. But, when people are talking budgets, it goes back to something I already said to you. You're going to have more fun doing the DJ fusion than you are booked for just the ceremony. And I'm like debating on if I say this out loud to you, but again, it's even when I have the consult and I talk to people, some people will say, I'm debating on if I really want to tell you this. Some people will say like, oh, I'm interested, and we're talking about some sort of live music, and they're talking about they like Bridgerton, and they have this image of, a live violinist playing at the ceremony. And then they start talking about other things. And then we get to the DJ fusion, and then they start talking budgets. And I always immediately say, we're cutting the live musician for the ceremony and we're adding it to the fusion 10 times out of 10 times, because the difference that you're getting in that vibe aren't comparable. Now, again, I want them to spend the money, obviously, and have you for the entire thing. But when we're talking budgets and we're talking about like what's important and where does it go, that's where I'll always respectfully say the cheaper route is the DJ for the ceremony, and it's simpler, and having the live musician. And again, here's another thing, and I'm curious to your opinion. When we do a DJ, most weddings are 5 hours. Ceremony is an extra 30 minutes. So we would start playing 30 minutes prior to that. I'm assuming that's what you standardly do if you do a ceremony. So if the ceremony is at 5:30 and we start playing music at 5 o'clock, some weddings you can go to, and we'll say the crowd is 150 people. Some weddings at 5 o'clock for a 5:30 ceremony, you could have 12 people. Other weddings, you can have 100 there waiting 20 minutes ahead of time. But this is where I also say, like, it's back and forth of you don't know how many guests are arriving. Is it like they're coming from buses or it's at a hotel and all this stuff? But what is your, how do I put this? I guess I'm always trying to figure out what people say as far as like, is that your standard 30 minutes prior to a ceremony?
Yeah, if guests are there, we're
Right.
going to
Just
start playing. Yeah.
right. So I am always just, I guess I'm pushing the get the both, if you will. But uh, going back and forth, I don't want to, it's like talking to the musician sitting here. I never want to say I want to talk them out of it and get the DJ for ceremony. But when they come to budgets, I guess I'm just landing the plane of I'm always just driving them to go the fusion route, not the ceremony route, I guess. How often do you do cocktails?
Yeah, pretty often as well.
Pretty often?
Hmm.
When, and I mean, again, I know you work with a bunch of different companies. Uh, is it a lot where you're doing ceremony, cocktail, and reception?
Yeah.
Like the whole, all three?
Hmm.
Yeah, we got to get on them numbers. We got to get them. We're getting there. Okay, here's a good one. For couples considering adding live musicians to the DJ, I just want to hear in your words, how do you put it? I almost feel like I'm asking ChatGPT, but you to answer it. How do you put it in your words what adding the live musician does that just the DJ doesn't?
Just bringing that element of I would say expanding the band, right, and adding the connection like on the dance floor between the DJ and the crowd, because we do like when I play, for example, I interact like all the time with people and stay on the dance floor with them, partying and doing what what they're doing, and having fun with them. I think like that's what live musician there for, and again it just adds the element of spontaneity and like a life element. So, and like usually like because when couples, when they plan it, they don't just plan it for themselves, they as well want to impress their guests in
Sure,
some way.
sure.
And I think that also brings that element where people say, wow, like I've never seen something like this before, or never heard like what, because like I think like every event I do, I'm asked like what is the instrument I'm playing, just electric violin, and which is great. It's just something people, like some people never seen before, and it definitely adds the element of improvisation and fun.
Definitely a younger thing of the mid 20s, early 30s that are adding it. You see way
Hmm.
more. But I do now love seeing when they open the doors for you to come into the ballroom and it's like right before intros and like they see a live musician there playing like an older person and they're like mind blown again, rock star there now that they're like mind blown about it. So I definitely love the element of surprise. And I say to people often that, if you write down a list of every wedding you've been to a guest in your life, and 20 years from now you look at this list, you will still remember that wedding was awesome, that wedding was awesome, this wedding sucked. That and it always is the music or the DJ essentially.
Hmm.
So when I talk about cold sparks, when I talk about adding the DJ fusion, 20 years from now, people remember the cold sparks and the DJ fusion at your wedding, and it's just something that's going to stick with them.
Yeah.
And again, for the 100th time on this episode, it's all about the vibes.
Yeah, true. Yeah, they definitely remember the vibes as well, and that's what we are there to create. Like, because when we will be playing, like I'll be like literally looking at you, and smiling all the time as well, and just like moving a lot, which is inspiring. And like when I play with other musicians, sax players or other violinists, and it's also inspiring in a way. And it's like so we can make a connection between going to a festival, which is as well, some bands they, do it differently, but what we remember is that the energy, the feeling we left with, and
Right.
I think that's what very important when we have a little bit more people, and when it's like literally like a theatrical play, or something more of engaging. People remember it, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Like I said, I'm here for it. I don't see it going anywhere. And like you said,
Yeah.
there you go, people. DJ Fusion is the future of wedding entertainment and vibes. I know this answer for a saxophone. I don't know this answer for a violin. When we have a boom, we're adding violin to the wedding, is there any certain songs that like people specifically might throw in their must plays because they know they're adding you as a musician for the wedding?
Not really, but I think the cool one would be Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Okay. See, and that's like dinner vibe songs, like early on, where I think that would work. See,
Yeah.
that's what we're gonna start just implementing that in there. Uh, Someone said we did a pod earlier, and they were like, back in the day, like 8-minute songs were cool, which that definitely is like an 8-minute long song. And they're like, now it's like nobody's got time for that in 2026. They don't. Now it's like 2 minutes max per
Yeah.
song. Do you have, when you do a wedding, do you have a favorite type of crowd genre? Actually, that's a two-part question. Is there a certain hip hop, I'm gonna probably guess electric, but like where you at? What do you enjoy playing along the DJ with? Is there a specific genre that like gets your juices flowing that you like over everything else?
Anything EDM, I
That's
would
what
say.
I knew it. I'm asking the question.
Early
I'm like,
2000.
yeah. When you say it, I'm like, I already know the answer, but I'm just gonna ask them anyway. So I have rapid fire questions to end, but we already started with ceremony or reception. I already know that answer. Traditional or modern wedding music? Modern
Modern.
wedding music. We
Yeah.
already kind of knew that one. Soft strings or high energy dance
High
floors?
energy.
We again, like I'm answering them all for you. Indoor ballroom, outdoor reception.
Indoor.
Yeah, well, I'm like, what month of the year is it to answer
Oh, it
that?
doesn't matter. I think it's the sound and
Oh, okay. See, that's different. I didn't
yeah.
think about that. I definitely, yeah, acoustic, I guess, are different for outside. I didn't think of that.
But also I think it's during summer, it's just every outside wedding we've done extremely hot. Like
This is why
always.
fall is so great. And
Yeah.
my fat ass, I don't want to be in a suit in the summertime if you are. One song that you think never fails at a wedding.
Mr. Brightside.
Okay. I like it. And I don't think I've ever heard a violin with Mr. Brightside. So
You know what I like? I like playing Ode to Joy on top of it.
okay.
It
Okay.
fits so well.
All right. I like that. That I can get down with. That's
You'll hear it when we work together.
yeah, let's go. I'm all about that. Final thoughts. Anything that we didn't talk about, anything that we can tell our brides and grooms, something about, adding live musicians or things, or what is something that they should be asking about the musician that they're getting that maybe they're not thinking of? My question is the energy, and we already talked
Yeah.
about that, but is there anything else that you think of?
I think particularly when couples book their musicians for the ceremony and when they curate a repertoire, I think they should think that what's very important is that the there will be moments when they're not there. For example, for prelude, they're not there. For cocktail hour, they're not there.
Right.
And when they select repertoire, I would just recommend maybe just giving direction to a musician if they trust, or just in general trusting more professionals. And for ceremony, doing less changes, I would recommend, because sometimes people do like 5 changes for the ceremony, like for just the processional, and what ends up happening that for some reason, like they're like 5 coordinators who like can't really
Yep.
like tell the difference when it's one song, and they start like working people, earlier or later, and then like we have to switch the song like right in the middle when they're doing. I think the best way to do it that never fails is one song for everyone else, one song, the main song for the bride, and the recessional. And you always can create a culmination and like an epic moment in a song. For example, like you just, the song starts for the bride, and then, like when the doors open, just ask musicians to play a little bit louder or go to the part where
Right.
there's more build up, and that will solve the problem, I think.
I think it's a great point.
Yeah.
It's a great. I'm glad we
Yeah.
touched on
And
this.
another little detail is what I also noticed is for the cocktail hour, if you hire live musicians, make sure that they're amplified, because it never discussed, but it's very important because during cocktail hour, people already start drinking and talking much louder, and usually, even if it's a string quartet, of course, depending on the venue and how much space you have, but
Sure.
most of the time, no one can hear anything. Like if it's not amplified like professionally,
Right.
it's a little bit of investment, but it definitely worth it if
If you're spending the money,
yeah,
right, do it the
exactly.
right way. No, it makes, again, two great points. Well, sir, I appreciate you coming on. By the gods and the craziness, I'm still going to sit here and say, I'm going to try to get you to come to Mexico at the wedding, and I'm going to try to make it happen still somehow.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, you're going to come back on and talk about it,
Yeah.
and we're going to do it again. But I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming in. Our first musician on the pod, Alexandr Kislitsyn.
Yeah.
Got it down. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you so much for having me. It
See you
was a
next time.
pleasure.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
My man.